What if I told you Earth's mightiest heroes suffered their greatest defeat and had to risk absolutely everything one last time? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a deep dive into the epic conclusion of the Infinity Saga. After Thanos erased half of all life in the universe, everything the Avengers fought for was just gone, literally wiped out in an instant. But, as we're gonna see, they definitely weren't ready to throw in the towel just yet. So, what actually happens after the universe loses? To really anchor the emotional stakes here, we have to look at the grim reality of that immediate aftermath. This tragedy didn't just happen on some grand cosmic scale, it hit intimately close to home. Take Clint Barton, for example. We pick up with Clint enjoying a totally normal, peaceful day with his family, and then out of nowhere, his wife and kids just disappear into dust right before his eyes. Thanos' snap claimed the people closest to him. Millions vanished across the universe without any warning at all, leaving the surviving heroes completely devastated and grasping for answers. Part 1. Surviving the snap. The immediate aftermath. Okay, let's dive into this. The situation for our survivors is incredibly dire. Even with powerhouse heroes like Captain Marvel swooping in to rescue stranded teammates like Tony Stark and Nebula from the absolute void of deep space, the reality back on Earth is pretty bleak. Because you see, returning home doesn't exactly mean salvation. The reunited Avengers quickly track down Thanos, right? They're hoping to just undo the snap. But instead, they discover this totally crushing blow. The Infinity Stones are destroyed. The damage is done. It's impossible to reverse. A completely rage-filled Thor actually executes Thanos right then and there, but the tragic realization sets in almost immediately. It changes nothing. The universe is still broken. And this brilliantly illustrates the incredibly heavy toll of that failure. We move from the trauma of year 0 straight into year 5. 5 entire years pass, and the surviving heroes are still just drowning in grief. Thor completely isolates himself. Bruce Banner permanently merges his brilliant mind with the Hulk's brawn just to cope. And Natasha Romanoff, well, she flat out refuses to let go of the mission. They're basically frozen in time by their trauma.
Part 2. The Time Heist Plan, a spark of impossible hope. Now, the heavy, somber tone of all that grief suddenly accelerates into the fast-paced energy of a heist film. Why? Because Scott Lang, Ant-Man himself, returns from the quantum realm with a completely wild revelation. To him, those 5 agonizing years, they were only a few hours.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how this impossible idea turns into a super methodical, insanely high-stakes plan. Step 1. Tony Stark actually cracks the code for navigating the quantum realm safely. Step 2. The Avengers split up into specialized teams. And Step 3. They revisit iconic moments from their own past to collect the Infinity Stones before Thanos can ever get his hands on them. They are risking history itself to pull off the ultimate heist. Part 3. The cost of Vormir, the ultimate sacrifice. Of course, altering the very fabric of the universe comes with a really heavy price. And we see this most clearly with Natasha Romanoff and Clint Barton on the desolate planet of Vormir. So the crucial point here is that the cruel rule of Vormir is absolute. The Soul Stone requires the sacrifice of someone you truly love. Both of these heroes, carrying so much immense trauma, are literally willing to give their own lives. In a really desperate struggle, and honestly, one of the most heartbreaking moments of the entire saga, Natasha makes the ultimate choice. She sacrifices herself so Clint can get the stone, and the mission to save the universe can keep going. Part 4. Avengers Assemble, Thanos Returns. Let's move ahead and see how this builds, because things go from bad to catastrophic real quick. The surviving Avengers actually manage to assemble the Infinity Stones in the present and snap their fingers to bring everyone back. But a massive complication arises. A past version of Thanos discovers their plan, travels to the future, and just totally obliterates the Avengers headquarters. Suddenly, Captain America is standing all alone against this endless, terrifying horde of monsters. It absolutely looks like the end. But then, portals open. Doctor Strange unleashes countless glowing gateways all across the battlefield. The vanished heroes return. Out steps Spider-Man, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. The tension completely shatters as the heroes we lost 5 years ago finally march right out of the void. And then, we get what is arguably the pinnacle of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Captain America stands firmly against Thanos and his army, surrounded by the resurrected heroes of Earth and beyond. And for the very first time in MCU history, he says the legendary words, "Avengers, assemble." It is just this moment of pure, unadulterated triumph as the greatest battle in Marvel history finally kicks off.
The finale. The Infinity Saga concludes. Iron Man's final sacrifice. Now, despite the backup, the fight is far from won. Thanos proves to be an almost unstoppable force, and he nearly claims the assembled stones again. That is, until Tony Stark sees one final, truly desperate opportunity.
The stones lock right into Tony's own armor. With his last remaining strength, Tony looks at Thanos and delivers his unforgettable final words, "I am Iron Man," and he snaps his fingers. In an instant, Thanos and his entire army disintegrate into dust. The universe is saved once and for all. But the cosmic power of those stones is simply way too much for a human body to endure. Tragically, surrounded by his closest friends, Tony Stark dies, paying the absolute ultimate price for victory. As the dust settles, the world is forever changed. Everyone gathers to honor Tony Stark's incredible sacrifice, mourning the man who literally gave everything to save them. Meanwhile, Thor realizes he needs to forge a totally new path of self-discovery, so he leaves Earth behind with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And Steve Rogers? Well, he travels back in time to return the borrowed Infinity Stones, but finally chooses to live the life he always wanted with Peggy Carter. Eventually, an older Steve passes his iconic shield to Sam Wilson, perfectly passing the torch to the next generation. And just like that, the incredible Infinity Saga comes to a deeply emotional close. Which brings me to a final thought for you all. Who really is your favorite Avenger? When faced with impossible odds, which path of heroism resonates most with you? Is it Tony Stark's ultimate selfless sacrifice, Captain America's unwavering endurance, or maybe Thor's quiet courage to forge a completely new identity? Let those incredible character arcs really sink in for a minute. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to guide you through our next deep dive.